Hello and welcome to Wait for Real,
A true crime and paranormal podcast. I'm Grace,
and I'm Katie.
and you're back for another week. Boop-a-doo.
Yep,
Now I can
here
do
we
spirit
are.
fingers. People can see them
You can, yeah,
if you're watching us on the YouTube.
as you should be.
I
You
saw a
know,
cat behind you. Mm, mm.
oh, he's right there. I see like his boop.
There he is. Archie.
Archie boy. Okay, wait, this week I do have true crime news because we have to
Oh,
talk about this.
okay. I'm ready.
Haven't done that in a hot minute, but I'm sure you saw that Brian Koberger pled guilty.
Yeah, to avoid the death
Death
penalty by
penalty.
firing squad.
So it
What a piece of
says
shit.
that
He's an ultimate piece of shit. Sorry, I'm just gonna keep saying that.
So, as part of the plea deal, Koberger pleaded guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder. Um, he was also charged with 1 count of burglary. Koberger was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. Let's see. He faces up to 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, one for each murder charge, and a 10-year sentence for the burglary charge. Hippler said that the court is not bound by the plea agreement as far as sentencing, which is true. So, like, the judge can divert from sentencing always.
Right. Well, his plea agreement was to avoid death penalty, right?
Right, but he could get 150 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
Oh, yeah.
um,
He's gonna die in prison.
yeah. So it says they could impose a different sentence, but Koberger is unable to ask the court to do so. So he can't be like, can you give me a lesser sentence? You know what I mean?
Fucking. So I saw that like the prison he's gonna be in is like terrible.
Yeah,
Have you seen that?
most of them are. Do you know which one he's going to
No,
be in?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I think I
Let's
sent
see.
you an article about it, or I sent you something on TikTok. Well, I did send you something. On TikTok, there's this person that did a recreation of the night of the events, and it is
Yeah.
so fucking well done.
The people that redo with the software, you mean? Or no?
It's like, yeah, like it shows the car driving by, how many times he
Yeah.
drove by and stuff. Did you see that?
I'll need to watch that. I
It is
really think we
phenomenal.
should, yeah. It's really just okay, so sorry. I'm looking at the prison that he's going to. Okay.
You're good.
Um it's the Idaho Maximum Security Institution. It's earned a grim reputation for its harsh conditions with allegations of abusive guards, violent brawls, feces-covered recreation cages, and a dirty
Yeah,
ventilation system described as biohazard.
yeah. I
Oh
just
shit. It says the
what?
maximum security facility houses some of the state's most dangerous criminals, including convicted killer Chad Daybell.
Who's that?
Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow. It was several years ago, and they ended up it was like a very like cult situation, and she
Yes,
had two
yes.
kids, and they were
Yep,
killed, and like then it was also like their both of their spouses or previous spouses had been killed, and it was really
yep.
sketchy.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
Oh, this is wild.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that the trial and all the shit that has hit the fan with this and the families can finally like sleep easy a little bit. But I'm
Yeah.
also pissed off. Like I'm just like, it took you this long to take a plea deal?
I was wondering if it was less about him taking a plea deal and more about the state not offering. Like, if the families didn't want to offer a plea deal, the state might not have. But my thought was maybe they did it to spare the roommates that survived.
Oh,
Um,
my
I
heart
don't know
breaks for
if that,
them.
oh my God, I truly don't even know. And I feel horrible because they're always brought into the news and how they should have done whatever. And it's like, I will say this again. I've said it a few times. Leave them the fuck alone. You weren't
Literally.
there. Nobody knows how they're going to respond in an emergency. And it's not their fault. It is Brian Koberger's fault. Leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah, fuck that guy. All right, well that was interesting news.
Yeah. I'm like, we have to touch on it because this is such a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yep. I agree. We're not, I guess maybe we're talking about murder today. Depends
Ooh.
on how you think about it.
Okay.
But this episode, I'm calling it The Triangles.
Okay. Wait. I love this. Are you going to cover multiple triangles?
Yes.
Okay.
So Katie and I just went down a long ass rabbit hole about the fact that We literally have covered some of these already, and I just blacked it out of my life. Which we've been joking, saying that we need to get better at like documenting what we've covered, because we have
Right.
these moments where, you know, while the episode may focus on one item or one person, we have these like tangents where we talk about things that are related. And now we're having this moment where everything is sort of like intertwined, and
Yeah.
people are going to hear. I mean, it depends on how much of an avid listener you are. Because obviously, I don't remember shit, and it's me, and I'm one of the fucking hosts. But
Yeah.
Katie's memory is insane. So
It's okay. I think it's fine because we've never done it like this, and not everybody listens to every episode. So,
yeah, I will say most of our newer followers are listening to like newer stuff. At
right.
least the people I talk to.
Yeah.
So pretend that you guys have never heard this. No, it's not fully. I'm not going to go over the
And we've
exact same stuff we've already talked about, but
we've recovered episodes that aren't up anymore. Like this is no different than that. This is like it's all going to be one space. We've talked about this sporadically. Like it's like we've mentioned it in other episodes. They're not
yeah.
like we haven't covered these as episodes except for one, and you already knew that we had covered that.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways, back to where I was starting this off, which is I was calling this like the triangles.
No.
So, as Katie has said, like there's more than just the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes.
And I'm not going to go in depth on the Bermuda Triangle because we've covered it before. And then also, I'm going to talk quickly about another one called Bennington. Again, I'm just going to give the high level description of that because Katie did that just like a month ago.
Yeah.
So, from there, then I'll go into the other ones that I've read about, and we can chit chat about that. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And if Katie's heard everything, story of my fucking life.
I doubt it.
We'll see. So obviously, like I just said, first one's the Bermuda Triangle, probably the most famous one that you're going to hear about. It's roughly outlined between Miami, Bermuda, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. And it's been tied to disappearances, aviation disasters,
Sorry.
and I hear a cat moving.
He's
Is
trying
it
to
a
eat the
toy?
cord. He's trying to eat the cord, so I threw a toy this way to be like, go away. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. So again, it's been tied to disappearances, aviation disasters, and maritime vanishing acts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go into each of the famous cases because you could go listen to our episode that Katie talks about them, such as Flight 19, where the rescue plane is even dispatched to go find them, and then that plane goes missing.
Yep.
Which is like fucking
Scary.
banana land.
Yeah.
That shit scares the shit out of me. So that's the biggest, probably most famous triangle that you hear about or you know of.
Yes.
Next would be the Bennington Triangle, which again, I don't want to go too much in depth because you could listen to the episode from a month ago, but that's when Katie talks about this area that it doesn't really get like too much traction. It's called a triangle, but
Yeah. It's different because the other ones that we talk about are in the sea. And this is on land.
Yes.
And this is when we talked about Paula Jean Weldon, who went missing after going on a hike near her college.
Yep.
And then there were 5 other people that went missing during that.
Yeah, which were like Minnie Rivers,
yep.
James Tedford, Paul Jepson, and Frida Langer.
Mm-hmm.
So again, 2 areas that we've talked about. So now I want to talk a little bit about some other stuff. So first is going to be, let me pull it up, the Devil's Sea / the Dragon's Triangle. Okay. So it depends on, and Katie and I were just talking about this, like the Devil's Sea / like might get a name from other places too. We're just going to go with whatever I pulled up. Okay.
Yeah.
Friends, whatever the Google told me is what we're going with.
Hell yeah.
So it's known as the Devil's Triangle, the Dragon's Triangle, or the and there's also areas called the Formosa Triangle, like we just talked about, her and I offline. And basically they're calling it Pacific Bermuda Triangle, which is a region in the Pacific south of Tokyo. And it's considered a paranormal location, though, claims are always going to be questioned. I love a good paranormal explanation.
Yes.
So, shocker, right?
Yeah.
So the Japanese word mo no umi, translate as Devil's Sea or Troublesome Sea, has been widely used to describe this area. And it's like known in Japan, like if you say that, it's like, oh, that's an area we don't travel to. It's dangerous, blah, blah, blah. So in August of 1945, a Mitsubishi A6M0 supposedly went
Oh,
missing over this area.
what was that?
What?
It was like the loudest sound ever. It sounded like a dog barked directly into the mic.
My mic?
Yes.
Nope.
Okay.
I didn't hear it. Well, I also
That's,
don't hear myself, so that's
yeah.
well, we'll see how that turns out in editing, guys.
Love that. Okay. I'm
Love
sorry.
this journey
I
for
keep
me.
interrupting you.
You're
Carry on.
fine. We're going for it at this point.
We are.
So now it's just like it fucking just Grace, get it together. Okay. So a distress radio transmission from a Zero F wing commander pilot, his name was Shiro Kawamoto,
Hmm.
was crossing the triangle near the end of the war, and it created more questions than answers. So what had happened essentially is he sent this distress radio signal and it said, something is happening in the sky. The sky is opening up. And then it went
Oh,
dead.
shit.
Yeah. So then on January 4th of 1955, a Japanese ship, Shino Muru numbered 10, lost radio contact near this area. Japanese newspapers then began to label the location as, again, the Ma no Umi until
Hmm.
the ship was found safe on the 15th of January. So, reality, the ship went missing and then was found again.
Okay.
I saw the cat chaos behind
He's,
you.
yeah, he's fucking
He's
shit up.
allowed.
Yeah.
Again, there's been a ton of like documented ships that have gone missing in this area. And the Yokohama Coast Guard office. So
Hmm.
Yokohama in Japan, I've actually been there. It's very cool.
That's cool.
They label this area of the sea, as a dangerous area that should not be
Wow.
traveled.
Okay.
So how does this translate back to the US? So in the US, the New York Times introduced this incident with the term the Devil's Sea, where 9 ships had been lost in perfect weather. Again, this says like they're quoted saying from the Izu Islands to the east of the Ogasawara Islands, about 200 miles east to west and about 300 miles north to south, where 9 ships were lost in the past 5 years. However, 2 of the 9 ships were lost near, oh gosh, Mayakayima and Aoyama, about
Okay.
750 miles apart. Oh my goodness, that was a word.
You did great.
Yet again, Katie is like, wait, we definitely talked about this. I'm like, story of my fucking life. Here we
Yeah.
go. So there's not much like validity to the stories that are associated with the Devil's Sea or the Devil's Triangle, Dragon's
Right.
Triangle. Depends on who you want to name it or what you want to name it. And the reason for that too is that these things happened a long time ago. Same with the
Hmm.
Bermuda Triangle. This was like the 40s
Yeah.
and like the 50s. So obviously, the things you're going to hear might not be as factual today as they were then.
Right.
I will say that like boats still go through those areas now.
Hmm.
But it's not like as exciting, obviously, because
Yeah.
they survive.
Yeah. Bummer.
But I did want to talk about another land triangle.
Ooh.
And this is where it's called the Zone of Silence.
Creepy.
Yes, I love it. So this is in the, oh God, the word I'm not going to be able to pronounce, Chichahuian Desert of northern Mexico near the Mapimi Biosphere Reserve.
Okay, amazing. You did great.
Couldn't tell you what any of that meant.
That's okay.
And the locals call it La Zona del Silencio, which is the zone of silence.
Okay.
So in this stretch of desert, radios just completely stop working. Compasses will spin, so it never lands on like a cardinal direction.
Creepy.
And satellites tend to lose signal in the space.
Oh, fuck everything about that.
Yeah. So I'm going to read this article that was basically people talking about what they saw while they were there. So this area measures only 50 kilometers across, and it's mostly uninhabited expanse of almost 400,000 hectares where flat and desolate terrain is Grace, get it together. You stupid motherfucker.
No, you've got this.
Essentially, there's some lonely mountain outcrops, but not much. Okay.
Okay.
And a researcher named Benjamin Palacios says that the zone is his passion. He wants to figure out what the fuck is going through
I
on there.
love that. We love
Yeah,
someone with a paranormal passion.
right? And it says that he usually takes his 4-wheel drive Suburban and he goes through this area looking for explanations to this unknown phenomenon.
Hmm.
So he grew up near this area and he's known for his like UFO themed ranch that is nearby.
That's cool.
Yeah, right? And so it says, as we head into the heart of the zone, Palacios, a charismatic man with a deep tan and a full beard, veers his truck onto a desert track. Back on the main road, only a few miles away, the radio came in loud and clear. Now he hits search and it's endless scans. There's no signal.
Hmm.
It's like literally like you just get off the road and it's like dead zone.
No.
Yeah. So this disruption is believed to be caused by subterranean deposits of magnetite, mag, mag, magnetite,
You're asking the wrong girl.
magnetite. Okay, well, we'll try. We're gonna go
Yeah.
with magnetite, which is also which is possibly debris of meteorites.
Okay.
So the zone's overall effects and are disputed, but there's no doubt that the area, which sits on the borders between Mexico, like 3 different Mexican states, has an abundance of celestial activity.
Hmm.
And again, some say that there's visits from UFOs and extraterrestrials.
Love that.
So throughout the 20th century, large meteorites landed in this area, and even 2 fell onto the same ranch, one in 1938 and one in 1954.
Damn.
A third fell in 1969 in the Allendale Valley, just to the west of this area. And Palacios said that like it woke him up.
Wow.
Like he heard it. And it said people
Yeah.
for miles saw the light and heard the tremendous noise, which broke windows. It attracted the attention of scientists from around the world.
Yeah, I bet.
So the name Zone of Silence was not given until 1966 when Pemex, the national oil company, sent an expedition to explore the area. The
Hmm.
leader, Augusto Harry de la Pena, was frustrated by the problems he was having with his radio. And then he basically said, "This is the Zone of Silence. I can't communicate with anybody." So then this turned into an area of like curiosity. People wanted to check it out. And on July 11th, 1970, a Athena rocket was launched from the U.S. Air Force Base in Green River, Utah, as part of a scientific mission to study the upper atmosphere. And the rocket was supposed to come down near White Sands, New Mexico.
Okay.
Instead, it went widely astray and at 2 a.m. crashed into the heart of the Zone of Silence.
That is bizarre.
Right?
What are your thoughts on that? You think it was just like a fluke or you think paranormal?
I
You
mean,
would
so
have a unique.
1970, I mean, we've only, at that point, we'd just gotten to the moon. So,
Yeah,
like,
fair.
we were on the struggle bus. But I will say that I feel like the technology slash the ability to understand the rockets and like where they're going to land would not have fucked up that badly.
Right. Especially, yeah, because it
Yeah.
was a military rocket, right? Or no?
It was a what?
Was it
Military.
military?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like their technology has always been like a little bit better,
Not
as
only
it
that, but
should.
like military rockets, you don't know about them because they're good at their job.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Weird.
So after this crash, the zone became an international spotlight, also a really big tourism opportunity. So Weinher von Braun, who is a famous Nazi rocket scientist who helped the Americans build their space program, came to investigate on behalf of the United States. He
Hate
was
that.
greeted he was greeted at the
Okay.
train station by Palacios' father, who was then the
Hmm.
mayor of the town. Von Braun took reconnaissance flights in a Cessna to confirm the crash site. With the aid of 300 Mexican workers, a 16-kilometer trail spur was built across the desert to the impact crater, and a team of Americans then came and excavated the area. So it says Von Braun was here for 28 days after the crash. The Americans brought temporary dormitories, labs, kitchens, medical facilities, and set them up right here in the desert. They even built a runway to transport cargo directly by Houston. By rail, they hauled away tons of debris. It's all gone now. So there's no evidence of the 5-story, 7-ton rocket.
Holy
There's no
shit.
evidence of the impact crater or the rail spur or any of the other structures. However, the rocket crash that sparked interest in this area, and a few years later, the Mexican government created this reserve of this to preserve this area.
Hmm.
So the reserve has a research station. It hosts scientists from around the world, many whom are biologists that are attracted to like the unusual flora and fauna. Um, for example, there's like North America's largest land reptile, which is a gopher's tortoise, is there.
Okay.
So they think that millions of years ago, this zone was underwater, and there's
Mm.
remnants of that by seeing fossilized sea shells and vast salt deposits. And today, the salt is mined by laborers with shovels and wheelbarrows. It's very difficult terrain, so it's not really an area where outsiders are going to go venture by themselves.
Yeah.
Um, and there's areas that people were illegally mining for years and years and years in that space. And
Hmm.
so it's really dangerous terrain to even walk on because you don't know where a mine resided. And also you could literally, like, if it had been raining or whatever, you're more likely to fall into a mine,
Yeah.
which is horrifying, but we love that. So there's been several stories about the zone that talks about strange being encounters. So people have said that they've encountered extraterrestrials. There's unusual lights in the sky at night. There's an overabundance of meteor showers, specifically just in that area.
Which is weird.
Yeah. And it says that usually these stories are coming from people that live in the remote ranches near this space. Um, People have said they've seen fireballs go across the sky. They've seen flames roll down the side of mountains, like ignited tumbleweeds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And there's like, I love how it's Gerardo Rivera, who's a
Hmm.
devoted UFO investigator,
Okay.
that says people often get lost in the zone. When this happens, sometimes a tall blonde being appears out of nowhere. Those who have claimed to encounter the tall, fair haired aliens say that those individuals speak perfect Spanish, only ask for water, and they disappear without so much of a footprint. When they are asked where they come from, the beings known as Nordics say only above.
Oh my God.
Right?
What's their purpose? That like I thought at first it was gonna be to help them get out, but it's like they come down, ask for water, and then they're like, "Bye,
They're like,
thank you
bye,
so
peace out, Girl
much.
Scout.
Yeah, good luck out here."
Yeah. So back to Benjamin. So Palacios, he has a story that he said when he was 12 years old, a light appeared from above and completely encircled him. I was traveling with my brother in the zone. We didn't know what was happening. When we got back to the ranch, we realized we had lost 2 hours of time. And he believes he was abducted by aliens.
Oh my God.
Big fan of this theory. So
This is Grace's favorite theory.
literally, I'm like, I actually don't care about triangles at all. We're just gonna go to the zone. Um, because it has turned into an opportunity for tourism.
Oh
So
yeah.
people will stay at Palacios Ranch. They'll take guided tours. Um, and basically, they call these people like zoneros, which are like people that want to seek aliens and paranormal experiences in the zone of silence.
Yeah.
Um, and more recently, this has sort of like stopped happening because of the strains with security and safety in Mexico. Um, and Palacios wants to build like a resort there where he's gonna put like little cabanas and like,
Cute.
yeah, right? How adorable.
Yeah.
Um, which I freaking love. But
Yeah, Grace would be there. She's
oh
buying
yeah,
into
100%.
this.
100%. And people also think there's like a spiritual aspect to the zone as well. So there's people that say like the zone has been good to my family. I respect it.
Hmm.
I give praise to it. Um, like this one person said that like their daughter was unable to have children and they tried everything. They went to all the doctors. They came to the zone and conceived, and literally like 2 years later they did the exact same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, which is wild.
That is wild.
So that's my favorite triangle. of the
Yeah.
triangles. But I
Love
do
that.
have a couple more that I'm just going to like very quickly just name and not really give too much description to. If you are interested, Katie, though, and you're like, wait, I want to know more about that, we can talk about it.
Yes. Okay.
So, I'm calling these bonus triangles.
Okay.
One is going to be the Nevada Triangle. So, this spans parts of Reno, Las Vegas, and Yosemite. And this region has seen over 2,000 aircraft disappearances, often
What?
attributed to unpredictable mountain downdrifts.
But then I never find them.
So, not in all cases. But one of the famous crashes was an aviator, Steve Fawcett, who vanished in 2007, and his wreckage wasn't even found until a year later. Like he
Where
just
was
like
it found? Like like it was
within the triangle.
okay.
Yeah. And they're saying that it was an unpredictable mountain downdraft, which basically says like when you're flying through this area, you know, the mountains are going to give off a different wind direction and speed than everything else. It's going to cause you to become disoriented and potentially crash.
Yeah.
So that's one triangle. I think we've talked about the Great Lakes Triangle because I think you covered this with boats
Possibly.
and fun
But
things.
say again.
Yeah, so basically this is between Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and Lake Ontario. This triangle is associated with thousands of shipwrecks and aircraft vanishings, including the Northwest Flight 2501 in 1950.
We have
Yeah.
talked about this briefly. And
Yeah.
I think we've talked about how like Lake Erie, which I don't think you mentioned, but just in general, like they get a lot of shipwrecks. But why again? You've said, yeah.
Erie, right here, my people.
Why do they have
Um,
shipwrecks? Is it because it's shallower than people think, or what is
yeah,
it?
it's
Okay,
like let me pull up the specific. There's like a map you can see, which I think is
that's
pretty fucking
crazy.
cool. But yeah, so yeah, because one, it's because of the shallowness of the lake, but then two, the way that the wind with the depth of the water causes like you could be like sitting in your boat 1 minute in calm waters, and then a minute later you could have like huge
Mm,
vertical waves that just
okay.
take you out,
Yeah.
which is horrifying. Then the other one I wanted to talk about, which is the Bridgewater Triangle, which is located in southeastern Massachusetts. So this region is home to a variety of paranormal activities. So we're talking UFOs, Bigfoot sightings, poltergeists, cattle mutilations.
Yeah.
Do you know this one? Did
I
we?
think no, but I think it's come up with like a cryptid episode or something. So can you say more? Like, are there like
Yeah.
famous things about it or like famous cases?
Yeah. So let me pull up. So the Bridgewater Triangle is an area of about 200 square miles, again within southwest eastern Massachusetts.
Hmm.
Um, oh god, sorry, I was reading the part that talked about Bigfoot because I'm like, oh, obviously Bigfoot's there,
Yeah.
but then it says giant snakes. What the fuck is a giant snake?
I don't
Because I
know.
don't want it.
Define giant. Yeah. No.
Yeah, like define giant.
Yeah. I'm like, what are we talking about here?
So talking about the historical places and landmarks within this area, one is going to be Freetown Fall River State Forest. um it's reportedly been site of various cult activities, including animal sacrifices, ritualistic murders committed by the Satanists,
Yeah.
as well as a number of gangland murders and a number of suicides.
Oh.
Next is going to be Profile Rock. So this is the site of where Wampanoag historical figure Anawan received the lost wampum belt from Philip. So this is going to, talking about. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Colonization? Is that what
Yeah,
we're talking about? Okay.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Legend says that you can see the ghost of a man sitting on a rock with his legs crossed with outstretched arms.
Mm.
Um, Yeah, so that's one. Then there's the Solitude Stone, which is an
Ew.
inscribed stone located near the Forest Street in West Bridgewater, which was found near a missing person's body. Also known as Suicide Stone, the rock has been found with the inscription, "All ye who in future days walk by the Nankuntesit stream, love not by him who hummed his lay, cheerful to the parting beam, but the beauty that he wode." Don't know
What?
what the fuck that means,
Okay.
but I'm not about it.
Yeah. Okay. Weird.
Then you're going to have Bridgewater State University. So, several
Mm.
buildings and rooms on this campus are alleged to be haunted by ghosts and other paranormal phenomena, even to the point where there's certain dorm rooms that they will not fill.
Yeah.
Then the Taunton State Hospital. So, some visitors have claimed that they had strange paranormal experiences in the hospital, including being touched and pulled in certain areas of the hospital. It was also claimed that the hospital was used by satanic cults during the 1960s and 70s for rituals.
Great.
We got Hornbein School, which is a one-room schoolhouse that was built in the 1840s and remained active until 1937. The building is alleged to be haunted by its former inhabitants, and there's theories to suggest that children were murdered there.
Hmm.
And the Hockomock Swamp, which is a large wetland that is much of the northern part of southeastern Massachusetts and is considered the largest freshwater swamp in the state. It served as a major part of King Philip's War as a strategic base of operations for Metacomet, also known for King Philip, to launch assaults upon the English settlements.
Okay.
The Hockomock is a term meaning a place where spirits dwell, and it's also a native burial ground. So, with that being said, many stories and legends are associated with this. And even today, it's a preserved space because they don't want to disrupt the burial ground of these people. But on top of that, everyone says it's very haunted.
Yeah.
So, in total, it is as an overview of basically Bridgewater Triangle, they're saying that it's mostly Native American curses that have been put onto people and the land.
Respect.
But also it's going to be a very cult heavy area.
That seems correct because it's New England. Okay. I'm like, yeah, that seems like a culty area just in general, you know? A lot of forests there. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And I'm not going to read or say out loud the cult, what they found from the cult rituals and things, but just know that there was some grotesque shit found.
Okay.
Yeah. They also said that there's been unusual animal sightings that are not found in the area. So you're seeing things like bears and panthers whenever they are not native to the space.
Bears aren't native to the space?
To that forest, I guess. I don't know.
Weird.
Girl, I don't know. And then also, they have said that they've seen enormous, vicious dogs that resemble like werewolves.
That's scary as fuck.
I'm about it.
I love a good cryptid.
Mm-hmm. It's actually Jacob.
Yep.
He's out there.
Yes.
I'm wearing my Charlie Swan shirt, so it makes sense.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's the Bridgewater one.
Okay.
Then we also have the Matlock Triangle, which is located in Derbyshire, England, between Matlock, Bruxton, and Bakewell. The area is said to be a hub for phantom plane crashes, UFO sightings, and strange magnetic fields.
What's a phantom plane crash? Like one that didn't really happen?
It says underground cave systems and tales of time slips are a part of the local lore there. So let me pull up that one too. I had that saved.
Time slips. Scary.
Time slips. So the Matlock Triangle is a little bit weird. If you do try to look it up, it's going to show you as two different locations. But primarily it's going to be that Derbyshire, England area. And again, I said phantom plane crashes. So basically that's reports of mysterious aircraft incidents. So things of aircrafts being seen in one instance and then disappearing into thin air when there's no clouds in the sky. There's going to be alleged UFO sightings. So these are obviously unidentified flying objects in the skies above this area. And then also, like I said, the strange magnetic fields. So this is going to be where compasses are going to malfunction. Navigational equipment is unable to give you any real navigation aid. And some context, like I said, with those underground cave systems. So the Peak District, which is where this Matlock Triangle lies, is known for extensive cave systems formed in the Carboniferous limestone. Guys, weird. This is a fucking science experiment episode. Some of these caves are linked to ancient mineral deposits, and their formation has been influenced by geological processes over millennia. This underground landscape may contribute to the region's mystique and fuels beliefs in hidden or unusual occurrences. So there are people that have said that there's tales of time slips. So they're saying that while they are there, they believe they're experiencing something in real time, but when they come out of that area,
Ooh, that's
what?
scary.
Oh my
That,
gosh.
sorry, just that. Like, can you imagine thinking like, oh, this is happening, and then, ooh, I would be like, I've lost my mind. Just leave me out here, I think.
Yeah, well, like that's what. Well, my thing is like that reminds me. Isn't there a show that's like Manifest or something where it's like the
Yeah.
plane lands and it's been like several years?
Yes. Yep.
That's exactly how I'm feeling about this.
Mm,
And
don't like it.
then,
Don't like it.
and I love that like when I'm looking this up, somebody puts like at the bottom of it, it's like please be wary of talking about the triangles. And I'm like, why do we have to be wary about that? I'm just talking
Also,
about it.
don't put the disclaimer. Just leave me out of this, okay?
Yeah,
Like,
like
I don't
mind your
need to know.
business, bitch. Like,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. So all in all, I feel like the storyline of the triangles is interesting because one, they're not just one place, they're not just over water. They're going to be varied storylines, varied things that are going to happen. I think probably if we look at it from a logical standpoint, there's probably like, like magnetic fields and shit is like pretty well explained. But I
Hmm.
refuse to let that be the only explanation.
I agree. I want to bring up a different triangle. Can I do that?
Fuck yeah, you
As
can.
like I know this is your episode, but
No, I'm loving
um,
this.
what about the Alaskan triangle? It says it's located in a vast. Oh, sorry.
No, go
Were you
for
gonna
it.
cover this in a different
No, no, no,
episode? Because I
no,
was like, I don't have
no,
to say anything. Okay.
no, go for it.
So it is located in a vast, remote wilderness area twice the size of Texas. Twice the size of
It
Texas,
doesn't
where
even make sense.
16,000 people have disappeared without a trace, which is more than the Bermuda Triangle. They're saying that 1,000 people go missing per, where is it? 1,000 people. The
That's
rate per 1,000 people is more than twice the national missing persons average, and the rate of people who are never found is even higher.
where is it? Like where?
Oh, I'm gonna do my best to pronounce
Listen, I butchered every fucking thing I said today, so you're fine.
Utqiagvik, Anchorage, and good God, Juneau. That was my best guess.
Juno?
Juneau.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I wasn't going to bring it up, but you brought it up.
Sorry.
It's okay. It says that the greatest risk in the Alaskan Triangle is the air, with over 2,000 planes crashed or vanished in the last 20 years. The disappearances in Alaska Triangle are common, and many paranormal researchers believe this occurrence could be paranormal activity. Since the dawn of
Yes.
time, there have been stories of paranormal activity in Alaska that continue, obviously. Alaska's wild.
I
UFO,
would go
they
ahead.
think UFO encounters have been historically linked to areas of high military activity, and this state has 9 major bases.
Yeah, it does.
This is just so wild.
I think like if I'm going to have a really outlandish viewpoint on all of this, I think one of them is going to be military bases definitely influence the area space.
Yeah.
I think magnetic fields, I think potential like unexplained phenomena that I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's probably aliens.
So this says, like, for if you're thinking logical explanations, it says the state's massive glaciers are rife with giant holes, hidden caves, and building-sized crevices. All of this are perfect burying ground for downed aircrafts and wayward souls. Once an aircraft crash lands or a hiker becomes stranded, that there can be snow squalls, which
Yeah,
until I moved here, I didn't know what a squall was, but there are a lot of squall warnings here, and it's basically just really intense
like
wind that
gust
can
of wind.
happen. Yes, yeah. And then it says other factors likely contribute as well. Compasses, for example, can sometimes be wrong by as much as 30 degrees in the area because of a phenomenon called declination.
Nope. I'm gonna pass on that one.
Alaska scares me. Don't they also have like 30 days of darkness?
I think it's more than 30 days.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Scary.
It's my thing is like I would love to see Alaska. Like I would love to do an Alaskan cruise. And the reason for
Yes.
that is because I am sleeping on a boat away from the forests.
Yeah, but did you see that someone went missing recently on an Alaskan cruise? I mean, they
Katie, why are
left.
you
They
doing this to
left the
me?
boat, but like it was like a 6-year-old woman. She like like they dock.
She
And
never came
then,
back?
right, they think she disappeared on a hike.
Yeah, again, I'm staying on the boat.
Yeah.
I'll take pictures like this.
Yeah. We should do an entire Alaska episode. There's probably so many scary things there.
I am very much afraid of parts of Alaska.
Yeah. Like, I think there's probably so much paranormal shit that happens there.
You know what's crazy is I literally, when I was 16, 17, I wanted to go to the University of Anchorage so badly.
Really?
Oh yeah, I don't know who the fuck I was when I was 16 years old.
Who does?
You could ask any of my high school friends. I was determined to go work and live in Alaska at the University of Anchorage.
It makes sense for you. I don't know how, but like that's something that like if you're like, yeah, I lived in Alaska for a little bit, I'm like, hell yeah, Grace, you did. I know that you
Like I
did.
was so determined to go to school there. I applied there like oh
Wow.
yeah. And then the biggest reason why was my parents were like, you can't even like you're gonna live across the world from us, like across the country, like what?
Yeah.
And I was like, it'll be fine. She was like, and my parents were like, well, you can't afford to fly home for holidays. And then I was like, oh wait, hold on. I
Yeah.
was like,
And
I
it would
can't
be
come home for Christmas.
so cold. You
And
would have
so
hated
isolating.
that. Yeah. And dark for X amount of times, or the sun's out for X amount of time. And it's just discombobulating, I would think.
Yeah, so I'm glad that I nicked that one and moved on with my life. But
Yeah.
yeah, my friends give me shit for that still to this day. They're like, remember
I
that time
love
you were
that.
living in Alaska? Now you live in Florida.
Yeah. Right? Oh my
Yeah,
God. That's wild.
yeah. So that's my. I've still never been there. So here we are. I
Yeah,
also
that's the
think high
thing.
school me was like trying to get a vacation out of it. Like, let's
So
go
fair.
visit.
Yeah, let's go check it out. You're like, something's up there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's currently my life, and that's currently the triangles. I mean, this episode was a doozy, and I think editing it is going to be really fun for Katie and I because we
Yep.
interrupted ourselves like
A
45,000 times.
million times. Yep. Yeah.
Because most of it would be like, I'm going to try to pronounce this word, and I butchered it, and then we try it again. Some of those
Yep.
I just left in here. But then on
Yep.
top of that, there was moments where I'm like, wait, have we talked about this? Have you talked about this?
Yeah.
Wait, I remember this part.
Yes.
So that's showbiz, baby.
Yep. That's showbiz, baby.
We're
I
gonna
think it was
like
great.
I hope that this cuts together well and that like
Hmm.
you don't even know how chaotic we are.
Yeah. That's definitely usually how it is for the audio. However, for the video, it is a lot harder to be like, oh,
Oh
this is
yeah.
smooth.
You just gotta do like a screen that just goes do 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 do,
Yeah.
like a really bad PowerPoint transition.
Yes. Oh my God, that would be amazing.
I think you should. Fuck it. I don't know how to do that, but that's above my pay grade.
I'll figure it out.
You let me know how that goes.
I will.
Jesus. All right. Well, if you made it this far, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the chaos that is Katie and Grace.
Hmm.
If you have stories to tell us about triangles, even just the shape, you just want to talk about your favorite shape, maybe a trapezoid, I don't know.
Yes.
You can reach out to us a couple of different ways. One is going to be sending us a text. It's going to be in our show notes that you can just click on. Two, it's going to be email. Our email is waitforrealpod@gmail.com. Katie checks that out, not me, because I'm lazy. Also, we have social media. You can reach out. It's at waitforrealpod. And if you can find our personal socials, good for you. Go for it that way.
Yeah.
What else? If you want to leave us a review or if you want to give us some stars on Spotify, that'd be very greatly appreciated.
Hmm.
And if you want to support us financially, because we're broke bitches, there's a link on our show notes and it says to buy us a cup of coffee.
Yep.
And go ahead.
I want to say a shout out. I sort of said it in the beginning. Thank you, John, for buying us a cup of coffee.
Hey.
I think he's one of our biggest. I don't like fans because we know him in real
I
life.
love saying
I
fans.
know. I'm like,
My followers.
no, he's our friend, but he's also such a supporter, and we love that so much, John.
Yes,
So
thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Hmm.
That gave me the good feels.
Good.
I miss John. John,
Me
what
too.
up?
John, send us a text via the link in our bio. No, I'm just kidding.
I will never be
Text,
able to
text our actual numbers. Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else you want to add for this week?
that's it.
All right. Well, we'll leave it as always.
Go to therapy.
And don't forget to leave the lights on.